What's up, chat? Hey, everybody, I'll get started in just a couple, guys. That is not a thing, Chub Shobi. And even if it was, I wouldn't say so on Twitch. Two seconds, guys. I'm just waiting on my tea, and then I will get started. Oh, screw it, no tea. I hadn't boiled the kettle yet, which would mean like waiting another 5 minutes. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening. I hope you're all doing all right today. Now, we got a packed stream for you guys today, but I'm gonna start off with a short little plug for this space, which is where I host my weekly show on Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, well, right now, this space is running our first subscriber drive. Come hang out with us all day for news and more fantastic and original content all week. Support independent left media. Your support is what helps this channel stay independent and on air. Same with this space. We're stronger when we fight back together. Organized. Go and show your support by dropping them a follow. YouTube.com at ThisSpaceTV. Only by working together can we break through the walls of the algorithm while we continue speaking truth to power and providing quality journalistic content and media to you at the same time. I'll probably read that again a bit later, but for now, I suppose we can jump right into it. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the stuff I have for you today is pretty fucking dark, and usually I do try and throw in a little bit of levity to lighten the mood. I don't have much of that today. Best I can offer you is confusion. Starting off with that one, I suppose. I don't know how this is, like, surely this is illegal. It just doesn't matter because it's America and the law doesn't exist in America. But, I mean, like, this is Trevor Noah showing how easy it is to manipulate debts on Polymarket. Hassan's done this before in the past as well, but I mean, like, this is just committing a crime on television. Now, I assume that he didn't actually bet on himself saying the word potato at this show. If he had, that probably would have been more of a crime, and he's not a Republican, so he will actually get prosecuted for it. But I mean,
welcome back to the Grammys. Potato. If you had me saying potato on Polymarket, you just made a ton of money. So congratulations, Noah_22, whoever that is.
The joke obviously being that is him. You know, Noah, Trevor Noah, that's his account. He bet money that he would say potato at the Grammys. I don't know if he actually did that. I don't go on Polymarket. It's insane that you can do that. Just like a couple of weeks ago, there was a clip that I saw on Twitter of Hassan going on Polymarket and realizing that there was a bet on will Hassan Piker show up to Zoran Mamdani's inauguration, and he was just sitting there like, I could influence these odds with like a single word right now. I could say that I'm going and then not go and then bet that I'm not going and then make money off of it. Like, how is this a thing? Well, I mean, I guess the entire US economy is built off of grift and theft, so why not? Not to mention that people in this country are fucking crazy. So, here is a new horror that has been brought into this world. Now, the tweet I'm about to show you is going to frame this in a very specific way. I'm going to tell you right now, this is not the only way that this technology will be used. Somebody built a website to avoid black people. Besides name filters, this map includes violent crime heat maps, Popeyes locations, and Waffle House locations. The app called peaceandquiet.io, drawn up by what I assume to be a Klansman, shows various names, Popeyes locations, Waffle House locations, and violent crime around the country. Funny enough, you know, most of the violent crime being in red states, but beyond that, this technology, this app right here, is not going to be primarily utilized by people who want to steer clear of black people. No, this is going to be used to target and harass people, obviously. We just keep making worse things. Like, no one asked for these. Well, I mean, I suppose Nazis did, but I don't really consider those to be, one, so to say, you know? And, I hope that we're not at a point where we still have to argue that they're not Nazis, but if there's anyone in here who still thinks that the United States has not gone full Fourth Reich, I can almost certainly promise you that by the end of this stream, you will no longer think that. So, first, I suppose we could look at the way that the right, Republicans, MAGA, Nazis, fascists, what have you in the United States, think about people, think about children. Now, obviously, you guys have seen the Epstein files. We all are aware that the right does not give two fucks about children. But 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos received a wings pin in the cockpit on his flight back from Minneapolis. This is a 5-year-old that was being deported from Minneapolis, and the pilot allowed this child to come hang out in the cockpit, considering, you know, they are heavily traumatizing this child. Who the fuck knows where they're going? Who knows what family that they may have there? And the first thing that this fucking Republican, Dami Salami, also, mind you, if you're in the kink community, anyone who is right-leaning is bad and toxic for you, especially a dom. They just want to abuse you. But referring to a 5-year-old as a criminal, you are supporting not only the kidnap and separation of a 5-year-old from their family, removal by force from the country that they almost certainly grew up in, let alone were possibly even born in. I don't think it matters anymore. And as they are being deported, an act of kindness done by the pilot to a 5-year-old is seen by a reward for criminals? A 5-year-old. Except, we're never going to talk about how we reward the criminals that are still in power, the criminals who grift, who steal money. Have you seen how much money Donald Trump has made? His donor portfolio, rather, has made since the election? This is rewarding criminals, but no one will talk about it. Back in 2024, we released a portfolio on autopilot that holds stock in companies connected with significant donations in support of Trump. It has risen 41% since then. It is almost doubled the return of the S&P 500. So, this is rewarding criminals. This is rewarding criminals. But to the right, it's allowing a 5-year-old a moment of normalcy as their life is being stripped away from them, as they are being forcibly removed from the only home that they have ever known. That's a criminal. It's Trump, obviously, complete legitimate. Well, yes, obviously. But, the thing is, the fact that there are still human beings that talk like that, I know a lot of these are bots, too. This is Twitter. 70% of these are bots. But there are people. Info with Amores, Visora, don't forget that Donald Trump has been selling pardons, too. Oh, yeah, no, we know the price list. It's $50,000 for a small pardon. It's $1 million for a table at Mar-a-Lago with the president, with other people, and it's $5 million for a one-on-one meeting with Donald Trump that will last about an hour. They have an open price list for how much it costs to bribe the president. Now, continuing on with the Nazi shit. Department of Homeland Security Twitter account put this out a couple days ago on the 1st of February. Want affordable housing? Help report illegal aliens in your area. Call 866-DHS-2-ICE. If you're an illegal alien, you can take control of your departure using dhs.gov CBP Home. Couple things on this. This is legitimately just saying your neighbors are hidden degenerates. Rat them out to the secret police. Secondly, the framing of this post by Melanie Di Aragio. The Gestapo also encouraged people to report their neighbors to arrest and put in detention camps, Nazi slogans, Nazi fonts, Nazi imagery, Nazi tactics. I agree. The one thing that I will still press on is that ICE is not the Gestapo. ICE is the brown shirts. The Gestapo was the SS. The brown shirts were the SA. The brown shirts came before the SS. The brown shirts were the paramilitary terrorist groups, the ones that went around raping, murdering in the streets. They were heavily armed and funded, and eventually they got a little bit too much ego. They challenged the Führer a little bit too much, and then we had the Night of the Long Knives, and all of the brown shirts were then put in the camps too, which, at the very least, that is the thing that gives me solace when I think about the people like this ICE terrorist over here, with his fucking very thick Hispanic accent.
I will tell you this, brother.
What?
I will tell you this. You raise your voice, I raise your voice.
If I raise my voice, you'll erase my...
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious? You said if I raise...
With this accent, the audacity. I would do the accent, but the last 2 times I have tried, it has come out Iranian. So, sorry. The Grammys hate speech on ICE was amazing last night. I haven't seen it. I'm not particularly, entertainment industry pilled, but, any hate against ICE, I fully support. Fully, completely support. Look, they have this little tip line here. Under no circumstances am I saying you should do this. In fact, I am overtly, specifically saying you should not do this. But the government is run by the mob. In fact, like, we've talked about Trump's ties to the Russian and Italian mob going well back into the 80s. Everyone from New York knows this. And so I'm just going to put out, for no particular reason, just because I watched The Sopranos last night. So I feel like maybe throwing that in there. Nice little tip line you got there. Be a shame if it got flooded with false information. Be a shame if it got flooded with addresses of MAGA neighbors of people, It would be a really big tragedy if people started to call this tip line and report neighbors that have, like, MAGA flags on the front yard and say things like, officer, like, I'm so sorry, but, like, I grew up in the Iraq War era where they said, if you see something suspicious, say something, and all I know is that, like, I've been hearing a lot about Antifa, like, putting up MAGA flags and trying to disguise themselves, and I heard this really weird conversation about my neighbor, like, it seemed like they were in a rush trying to hide somebody in their cellar. I mean, like, God knows what's happening in that basement. It could be, like, another Democrat pizza parlor. That would be a really big shame. Please do not do that at all. What does this have to do with affordable housing? Well, speaking of affordable housing, we actually have a statement from someone far more influential than DHS on affordable housing. That being the President of the United States of America. And this was just a couple of days ago. This is what they think about affordable housing.
Existing housing, people that own their homes, we're going to keep them wealthy. We're going to keep those prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of their homes so that somebody that didn't work very hard can buy a home. We're going to make it easier to buy. We're going to get interest rates down. But I want to protect the people that for the first time in their lives feel good about themselves. They feel like that they're wealthy people. And I want them to understand it. There's so much talk about, we're going to drive housing prices down. I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up for people that own their homes. And they can be assured that's what's going to happen. And existing housing.
So, no, get fucked with your housing prices. Let me see what this link says, Raven Spirit. However, let me give you a little bit of a tip. Next time you post a YouTube link, there will be a question mark, SI, following the end of the link. It'll look like that, question mark, SI equals. Erase everything following that question mark, because everything following that question mark is a tracker. That is how YouTube will be able to determine, like, who sent the video, where it was clicked from, all of that. Cool. I'm actually going to keep that video when we get to looking at more ice. I appreciate it, Raven Spirit. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and say you have shown enough baseness that if no other mods in the chat disagree, you are granted modhood like all of the rest of the regular chatters. Oh shit, hell no. Why YouTube be so shady? Well, most sites do that. It's specifically for ad revenue. It's how, like, if I shared a video with you and I kept that tracker in there, then you open that video, then this would tell Google that you are interested in the same kind of content that I am, and then that would direct ads that would get directed to me, directed to you, but also, like, obviously more than that. Continuing on with this narrative, however, of ICE are the brown shirts, not the Gestapo, and all of these guys are going to end up in the camps. We now have confirmation on the murderer who killed Alex Preddy, which, by the way, a court has deemed a homicide. It was a Hispanic man. That's the guy who shot and killed Alex Preddy. Now, we know his name as well, and I'm going to go ahead and say it's not doxing because ProPublica published the article. I will link you the entire full, like, ProPublica article. Bro, why? Because they think it'll keep them safe. Look, this is a historical trend. There are quotes going back to like World War II, going back further. I have seen the graves of those who thought that not fighting back would keep them safe. I have seen the graves of people, like I actually have, of people who will not fight back under the assumption that they will remain safe. That just ain't how it is. Thank you for the follow, Raven Spirit. So, 2 CBP agents identified in Alex Preddy's shooting. Jesus Ochoa. Again, both of these were Hispanic. Imagine having the name Jesus and working for ICE. And the second one being Raimundo Gutierrez. Why the fuck are you people working for ICE? You are next. I mean, again, bootlickers be bootlickers. This is what I was saying well before the election, and that, like, why a lot of Latin Americans do actually believe the illegal immigrant stuff, the right-wing immigration rhetoric, and it's because a lot of these people came into the country legally and feel entitled and feel like it is an insult to them that they had to take the long road, the difficult road, and all of these people just get to come on in, which has never been the case, but like that's what their mentality is. When will they see that no one is safe? I'm hoping by the end of this stream, because guess what we got? I'm gonna give you a little bit of a teaser. We're going to talk about the new concentration camps being built later on in the show, but I'm going to give you one little snippet from it. Medical and death. The services extend to, quote, medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators and certified inventory of evidence report for full-service laundry operations. These are going to be some of the features included in the new camps that they are building. We'll get there. We have a couple more things we got to get to. Now, if anyone wants to read the ProPublica article on the 2 terrorists who murdered Alex Preddy, I have linked that in the chat on both YouTube and Twitch, so feel free to do that. By the way, if you are new and watching me on YouTube, please jump over, watching me on Twitch, please jump over and like the YouTube stream and follow me on YouTube. I have been banned from Twitch 3 times already. Twice already. The next time, I have a feeling they ain't gonna let me back on. And, I mean, I don't know how long I'll last on YouTube, but if you like my content and you want to find it later, that's where you're going to have to do it. So, continuing on. Here is a 16-year-old child being pistol whipped by an ICE terrorist while unarmed and with their hands up in the air.
Oh shit.
Absolutely, Raven Spirit. It's a minor. Oh, it gets worse. This is one of the more tame videos for today. He's only a damn kid? Yeah, he is 16. You know who else is a kid? Hold on, let me see. Did I open that one yet, or is that one saved for later? That one is saved for later. Let's jump ahead a little bit. Let us show you the other children that they are going after. Here is a story of a 10-year-old from Spokane, Washington, a 10-year-old girl who was detained, and her and her dad were sent to Texas Detention Center. Now let me see if this is Dilly. No, okay, it's Teal it's not Dilly. That's good. By the way, if you weren't aware, Dilly, the concentration camp in Texas, currently is in the middle of a measles outbreak that is so bad that ICE won't go inside. So yeah. There's a measles outbreak inside the Dilly Family Detention Facility in Texas, where ICE is currently holding a 2-month-old baby. A 2-month-old baby. These aren't fucking people. These are demons. For a 2-month-old, measles can be deadly. For an adult, measles can be deadly. If it doesn't kill the baby, it can cause brain swelling, seizures, permanent neurological damage. Child should not be in there. Nobody should be fucking in there. We eradicated measles. Companies like Core Civic and Geo Group get paid per body, per bed, per day. Not only that, not only do they get paid per body, per bed, per day, when they sign a contract with a state or federal government, that contract includes a fine. If they have empty beds, the government is forced to pay more money than if the bed was filled. They have a monetary incentive, like the state does, to put more people in prison so that they have to spend less money. Next thing they're going to be is a personal trends. People go to concentration camps in a concentration camp. Oh, well, I mean, speaking of trans people, I talked about this vaguely in my last stream, but this has been the case for a while, but trans people are domestic terrorists and extremists now, according to the DOJ. But right now, by the way, this is the full document I would recommend reading. This is from Aaron in the Morn, who's, from my understanding, the best source on trans-related legislation. But it is Kansas advancing an anti-trans bill allowing private bounty hunters to patrol private business bathrooms looking for trans people. Now, might I remind you that ever since these laws have been put in place in any state in the United States, the only instances of men being found at women's bathrooms so far have been men barging into women's bathrooms, demanding to see the genitals of, in all three cases, I believe, what turned out to be cisgender women. So, by doing this, they have actually made it significantly more likely for women to be assaulted by men in women's restrooms. Beyond that, this is just bad for business. If there are bounty hunters patrolling private businesses in Kansas, looking for anybody that they can somehow in their mind clock as potentially trans to then harass, then people are going to spend less time outside. These ICE people need to drink holy water. I'm pretty sure that they would start smoking. Can somebody, for the love of God, to the next ICE protest, bring some salt and just pour a line of it in front of ICE? Maybe I don't know. Maybe they won't be able to cross it. Maybe throw some iron in there. Maybe some holy water just on top of it. Cover all your bases. I've been told that Peter Thiel doesn't like salt and smells like sulfur. Man's the literal fucking Antichrist, so wouldn't put it past him. They would start dissolving from the inside from holy water. Thiel almost certainly. No, I'm not even kidding, Raven Spirit. That has been information that has been given to me from someone who has met Peter Thiel. In person. He doesn't eat salt, he doesn't like it, and fucking smells like sulfur. Sorry, you guys are gonna have to bear with me coughing a bit today. I think I'm catching a bit of a cold. But, continuing on with these ICE terrorists. By the way, stop calling them agents, stop calling them officers. Literally Google the, you know what, I'll do it. What is the definition of domestic terrorism? And then, let's continue on. So, domestic terrorism involves violent criminal acts committed by individuals or groups with their home country to intimidate civilian or influence government policy through terror. Okay? That is domestic terrorism. Now, what is state-sponsored domestic terrorism? Well, state-sponsored domestic terrorism is terroristic violence carried out with the active support of the national government provided to violent non-state actors. It contrasts with state terrorism, which is carried out directly by state actors. So, again, ICE is a state actor, so this would actually just be state terrorism. The violent non-state actors are the ones that show up to the protest, the agitators, the ones that ICE is protecting. Next time you go to an ICE protest, you need to bring salt. Personally, I don't live in the US anymore. I fucked off in 2018, so I don't go to these protests. However, I am in touch with multiple people on the ground, and you know what? I will ask a couple of them too. Just this past weekend, I got a couple people working on prototype shield designs. After they deployed the LRAD last week, I came up with a hypothetical reflector, especially if you have a couple of these that you can line up next to each other like an old school shield wall. Theoretically, if you build these well, should be able to redirect the sonic wave back at the LRAD. Beyond that, I'm also trying to get people, if any of you are good with like arts and crafts, I'm begging you, build a shield. I've talked about it before. They're really easy. We need prototypes. We need prototypes specifically of ones that are more squared, so you can checkerboard them. I'm talking like old school phalanx shield wall. Imagine you're in a protest, someone is injured, they need medical attention, there's a medic on the scene, but they keep firing gas grenades and rubber bullets from all directions. You can cover that person with the shield wall and let them get medical attention. This is quite easy to do and quite cheap DIY stuff. I've shown videos on how to start a base using like plastic barrels. If you want to make like a light wing mesh shield, I would highly recommend using Faraday fabric. You can find that in your local department store. It's a fabric that's made with like linings of different various metals like copper and aluminum and silver, stuff like that. And generally, like when you think Faraday, it's blocking like electromagnetic frequencies. In this case, the use case for it is that the Faraday fabric is actually incredibly puncture resistant. Like, it's hard. If you just had a piece of Faraday fabric and like two things to hold it in place and you tried to jam like a sharp object through it, you really have to put like a significant amount of force to pierce it. Now, if you take that and maybe you get the plastic barrel coverings on both sides, and then in the middle of that, you get some ceramic plating. Like, literally go get some clay, fire it in a kiln, and then cover that in aluminum foil, then cover that with the plastic layering, then cover that with the mesh shielding. That should still be fairly lightweight and easy to carry. And with the addition of the ceramic, it won't stop like a proper like 5.56 NATO round, but it could stop a 9mm. It will stop much more less lethals. And from what I've heard this week, it's getting fucked out there. Like, they're apparently not even using time delay concussion grenades anymore. Someone I know just got out of the hospital because they technically died. Because while wearing an L4 plate carrier, they were shot point blank in the chest with a concussion grenade, which would have killed them had there not been two paramedics immediately behind them and the L4 plate carrier. The concussion grenade, like, obviously fucked with them. There's brain swelling and shit. Like, it's bad. They are shooting to kill. What to bring to a protest gas mask? Well, hold on. So I actually have exactly what you need for that. Protest safety. Also, I have a video on YouTube, feel free to check it out, of a bug out bag you can build. Also, a protest med kit specifically for large scale blood loss, at least a basic one on the YouTube that you guys can find. The only thing that I will add into my bug out bag video now that wasn't in it in the first place, this is what I'm being advised from people on the ground, including people in relation to organizations like the ACLU. We know for a fact that ICE is not just coming for, like, immigrants or brown people. Right now, they are specifically prioritizing activists and dissidents as well. If ICE is coming to your city, the advice that I have been given to pass along is to have 3 to 5 days worth of food that you can pack with you, as well as a method of water. Personally, I have both like water purification tablets as well as filtration straws. Both of these are rather cheap. The thing is, they will show up to your house and they will post up outside it and wait for 3 to 5 days. Generally, the advice seems to be 3, but it has been up to 5 before. Literally, leave your house, go somewhere that's not traffic. Don't go to a friend's house. Don't bring your phone. Don't bring electronics. Go hang out in the woods, a cave, go in the sewers, wherever the fuck you can go. They are coming for you, too. A little early in the stream for this announcement, but join the SRA. The lists are active. Your neighbors will trade you in to save themselves. If you think you're safe, that comfort is a delusion. Join the SRA, a 501c4, prioritizing self and community defense education. You can find the links there. Membership is $5 per month. However, you could literally just call them and get a waiver. Face them alone or stand together. Your loved ones need you, and there's no second chances. Are you ready? Better be. Because, here's how it is. During the Alex Preddy Memorial Bike Ride in southwest Portland, federal agents deployed tear gas as children were present. Video shows a child believed to be around 7 years old fleeing the gas. Also, I need people to understand that a large portion of why you're seeing clips of them attacking white people more often, this is a opinion that I've seen shared by a lot of black creators, and I do very much agree with it. There is an implicit benefit for just white people in America, even ones who hate this administration, right? What did she say? I couldn't make it out, but she was crying. She got tear gassed. But what was I saying? Right. So there's this view. Oh, she said it burns. Thank you. There's this view that just because you're against fascism, that you don't benefit from it. And a lot of people already know that that's a lie. Obviously. I'm assuming everyone in here, if you're watching me, you probably know that that's a lie. Now, what the government is doing here, to an extent, to a degree, is it is calling in the favor, so to say. It is demanding loyalty to your whiteness. It is saying being white is no longer enough. You're just as bad as a brown if you are not helping us. And that's why they don't seem to care about hurting white people, because it is an ultimatum that is being drawn. It is join us or you're next. It's not the only case, obviously, but it's a thing that I've seen discussed primarily by black creators and nobody else. So I think that that's pretty important to say. By the way, you have no property rights anymore. What's up, Rundo? We're just talking about, the Nazism and shit. Border Patrol agents illegally smashed through the glass door of a locked auto body shop without a warrant to detain the shop owner and an employee in West Valley City, Utah. Yes, these terrorists are violating the Constitution, which no longer exists all over the country. Look, it's just, I'll show you the video. Do you have a warrant?
What the f***? Look at what the f*** they did.
Wait, actually, this is a different video. I have another one about warrants.
You think they did that with the warrant? Look at this. Look at these. Where's your guys' warrant?
Stay back.
Where's your guys' warrant?
Stay back.
No, where's your
I'm white and I've been called a race traitor? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
warrant?
Stay back.
Where's the warrant?
Stand right there.
Where's the warrant?
I don't need one.
Yes, you yeah.
No, they don't. Unfortunately, they actually don't. I'll show you why in a second, but here's another example. This is ICE agents in New Jersey. Or sorry, ICE terrorists in New Jersey. Even I mess that one up sometimes.
Do you have a warrant?
We don't need a warrant, bro. Stop getting that in your head. That's it.
Do you have a specific warrant to look for anybody?
Fuck ICE!
Do you have a particular warrant to look for anybody. So
They've been coming into elementary schools for 3 months. They gassed an elementary school last week, Raven Spirit.
Elected official. My name is Jake Efros. I am the city council person right here in Jersey City.
Listen, there's nothing that you're going to say that's going to prevent us from doing our job. Just letting you know. So you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time.
Okay, what is your job?
No, we're ICE. Okay, clearly we're marked. All right. So I'm just letting you know. You can continue talking, but we're not going to answer any questions. So just stay there. You can observe. You can do whatever you want. Just don't interfere. Are we cool?
Okay, what is the...
I'm not going to tell you anything else.
Do you have a warrant?
We don't need a warrant.
So here's the other thing. They no longer need a judicial warrant. They do still need a warrant. It can now just be the warrants that they've been providing, which are not real warrants. They're not a judicial warrant signed by a judge. It's a warrant signed by ICE. Court ruling has just deemed that they are allowed to do that now. Here. Sorry, I thought I had that one on the list, but I did not.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are calling for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to be forced out. On 60 Minutes, Senate Homeland Security Chair Rand Paul said he wouldn't go that far, but acknowledged the department is lacking in trust.
Should Secretary Noem be fired?
I think we have to get through our hearing February 12th, and I think we have to see what the people who work for her say. But my advice to them, if they're watching and they come to testify, is if you come in and you're going to justify that this man was...
Oops, sorry. Rondo, they already have. They fuck off when they meet an OG Second Amendment person. I'll show you that video next after I show the other thing. Hold on. Let's finish this and I'll show you what happens when they show up to an OG, like, Second Amendment supporter.
Aggressively assaulting your police officers, that cannot be acceptable, and that's why they're lacking in trust.
CBS News immigration correspondent Camilo Montoya Galvez is here with me in Studio 57. Congratulations on your new title. We are always so honored to have you here in Studio 57. So let's talk about this new government memo from ICE giving officers more leeway to carry out warrantless searches. This is different from what you reported on last week, which is the judicial warrant versus the administrative warrant.
Correct. So just to level set, U.S. immigration law, known as the INA, generally requires ICE and Border Patrol agents to have administrative warrants before making an arrest of somebody they suspect is in the country illegally. Again, we're not talking about criminal warrants, but administrative warrants that are signed by Border Patrol or ICE officials that allege that somebody is in the country without legal permission. But there is one exemption to that requirement under U.S. law, and that is when ICE and Border Patrol deems that somebody is likely to escape before that administrative warrant can be issued.
Likely to escape, my ass. That is one hell of a title. Am I late for that part because I need sources? No, you're not late yet. We haven't got there yet. No, I will send you. I have that video that you sent, Raven Spirit, lined up for a specific section. Because I'm going to show it immediately after I show something else.
And now Director Todd Lyons of ICE is saying that the definition of likely to escape is much more expansive than previously known to the agency. Before, the agency was only allowed to carry out warrantless arrests when the individual was deemed to be a flight risk, meaning that they were unlikely to show up to their immigration court proceedings or comply with other stages of the immigration process. Now, Director Lyons is saying that that definition is much more sweeping in scope and will include people who are unlikely to stay in the location where they were encountered, a work site or a home. And so it's much more expansive now, the definition. And this is designed, we are told, to allow the agency to carry out more collateral arrests, meaning arrests of people who are not the targets of the operation, but are nonetheless encountered and are found to be in the country illegally.
Yeah, okay, I've had enough of this. I don't care anymore. So, fuck them. So, let us continue onward. I was going to show you the other thing, but I don't want to waste the time looking at it, so let us just get to some of the meat of this, because I do actually want to show the video that Raven Spirit sent. I just have to grab a couple of relevant links to show right after and right before. All right, so first off, I'm going to read you one of the most depressing things that I've read in a very long time. I've shown this on every stream since I've seen it. Here is a child's note that they wrote for a classmate. If ICE takes me, don't forget about me. I will be in El Salvador. You're my best friend, the brother I never had. I cry every night thinking that they will come for me at school. Again, not only does this kid have to worry about getting shot to death in school, they also have to worry about being kidnapped by terrorists and taken to a camp. This is just Anne Frank level shit. Secondly, here is them last week deploying gas next to an elementary school.
This is a preschool, you stupid motherfuckers! Get there, you fucking idiots!
Hold on. Now, let's look at a small, a child that ICE kidnapped. This is from the New York Times. Interesting. Let's see.
Dear ICE agents.
Dear Immigration and Custom Enforcement.
Dear ICE. Hey ICE. Dear ICE agents.
I already don't like the framing, like they're trying to treat these fucking terrorists like they're human.
Dear ICE agents, I hope you're respectful to everyone.
I'm sorry, Raven Spirit, I know that this is like wholesome. I can't watch it. I can't give you guys false hope. ICE agents are not ever going to change their behavior through empathy. They literally cannot. They physically are incapable of it. I have a video on my YouTube that explains the physiological brain differences as to why they cannot develop empathy. Again, by the way, like the physiological brain differences thing, you are smarter and superior to every conservative, but it's not innate. People are not born that way. It is because of how your brain develops. It is your nature versus nurture. It's the social and material conditions you grow up in. Conservatives have underdeveloped prefrontal cortexes, amygdalas, anterior insula, all of these cause behaviors in them and make it impossible for them to relate to other people, to empathize with other people. They literally lack the base concepts and necessities of humanity. This is why no fascist can create art. Don't become a non-readers chat. Hold on to literacy for dear life. Jesus, yeah. For dear fucking life. What's up, Alex Gallagher? I don't know, I'm dumb as fuck. You ain't that dumb. Their amygdala is overly sized typically too. Yeah, sorry, I said underdeveloped, but yeah, overly sized in that case. But yeah, no, please go check that video out. Here, I'll link it in the Twitch chat too. It is a big fucking deal. So I'm sorry, I can't watch that video because it treats them like, I don't know, there's any chance of humanity being found in them. But I can show you this cat who has more humanity than every single one of those terrorists put together. Now, right, puppy. Alright, Mama's gotta work. Keep moving on. It's the only thing that have true. The only things that are true have. The only things that have true that is honestly literature and books. Well, to be fair, there's plenty of like literature and books that aren't true either. Again, like you gotta remember that the average person can't read. No, it's Poppy. The average person can't read above a 6th grade level, and so you have to consider that. Like, they can't even read the Bible. The Bible is a 12th grade reading level book. So, we're talking about an average population, not just the U.S. I mean, like the world globally, who could not read like the 4th or 5th Harry Potter book, one of the like bigger ones. And actually like understand what they're reading. They could read the words, but that's as far as it gets. There's no picture, there's no understanding, there's no analysis. Like they can't, a children's book, they could not read and understand. Oh, well, Puppy would be a good nickname for a cat. I mean, to be fair, it does sound like Puppy when I say Poppy. Alright, back to the Nazis and the terrorists. I want to finish up with this because I want to yell about how I am vindicated after 10 years of being right and ignored. I'm really excited for that part. So, showed this one as well. I think this is the last, there's two more that I've already shown, and then we'll get to some new stuff. So, ICE is sexually abusing males in their custody by grabbing and bursting their testicles, according to the ACLU and The Guardian. At the largest concentration camp in the country, officers beat up Samuel, a detained teenager. Again, this is a minor, a teenager, so badly that he had to go to the hospital. His right front tooth broke. He said one officer grabbed his testicles and firmly crushed them, while another, quote, forced his fingers deep into my ears. He added that weeks after the beating, damage to his left ear was so severe that he now has trouble hearing. This is one of dozens of accounts of abuse from Fort Bliss. Extreme and unlawful use of force is prominent in Fort Bliss. Detained individuals describe violent assaults, including sexual abuse, report beatings, crushing testicles, while they're restrained, mind you. Also report being slammed, stomped on, or beaten when expressing fear of being sent to Mexico or when simply requesting their medication. These are not isolated incidents. They reflect a pattern of brutality. Cruelty is the point. It has always been the point. It continues to be the point. This is why. This is what it sounds like outside of, I believe actually this is the Dilley camp, the one with the measles outbreak.
I'm outside. I'm outside.
Yeah. They don't let you keep going. They're screaming in there, let us out. Alright, on to some new shit. Because this is just from the weekend. ICE beat someone so badly that they shattered his skull. Man shattered his skull running in... so ICE claim that the man that they beat until they shattered his skull by running into a wall. By himself. He did it to himself. So ICE beat an immigrant so badly they fractured his skull. Then, of course, said the fractures were self-inflicted. Quote, Mexican immigrant was taken to a Minneapolis hospital after bones in his face and skull were broken while in federal custody. But hospital staff members determined that that could not possibly account for the fractures and the bleeding throughout the man's brain. It just ran into the wall. Not the glass one. It was almost certainly concrete. Fuck, ICE is correct. They are a terrorist organization. ICE is a terrorist organization. Free the hostages. Americans have a right to defend themselves. Okay, new thing, by the way. If you are in Ohio, get ready. And if you're in Ohio and you show up at protests, if you watch live streamers, if you are an activist, an organizer, pack your go bag, your bug out bag, 3 to 5 days worth of food, water purification tablets, and fucking filtration straws. Go check out my YouTube video on the subject. Leave your house. They will come to your house. We're gonna watch a video on how they know where you live. So if you're in Ohio, be aware. It's gonna get pretty bad over there because remember, Ohio is where Springfield is. It's where they were talking about the cats and the dogs being eaten by the Haitians. Like, this is going to be ethnic cleansing shit.
I'm worried about an ethnic cleansing in Ohio.
Holy quiet.
In February, tomorrow at midnight, the temporary protected status of 10 or 15,000 Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, and 300,000 Haitians around the country expires. But in Springfield in particular, these Haitians have been the victim of a hate campaign partially led by the Vice President of the United States, and I think this is a place where we should all be paying attention, trying, whether we're judges or reporters,
Thank you, Jet.
or just citizens, to make it stop. I'm worried about...
I can totally see why dude's worried about an ethnic cleansing in Ohio, because, even J.D. Vance admitted that he made up the Haitians are eating the cats and the dogs thing, but, it doesn't matter. It's never mattered. Guys, the new camps that are being built with incinerators. So, new report. I will post the full, news story as well, so that you can read it. It's not just the Twitter thread. Hold on. But we can break it down. So this is from Migrant Insider. Concentration camps. DHS is setting up a huge network of detention camps. They're converting the U.S. as a region for eligible expeditionary military deployment and no-bid public comment contracts to build a ghost network of 10,000 person concentration camps. This comes on top of the 80,000 person logistics hubs, the processing centers that they're building out of like old warehouses, like Amazon warehouses. So the $45 billion in increased funding, published just weeks ago, converts the U.S. into a geographic region for expeditionary military-style detection. It signals a massive long-term escalation in the government's capacity to pay for detention and deportation logistics. I've also been told by people that I know who have worked both in the past or currently do for private military contractors, like various ones, that they have been receiving contracts from ICE offering them private contracts to come to the U.S. and help ICE and work as enforcers and help as defense, which is quite worrying. Bezos is really like a Timu Lex Luthor, kinda, yeah. So continuing on, here's the actual full link from the Migrant Insider article. There's enough clips that I don't really feel the need to, but so, new massive Navy contract vehicle, once valued at $10 billion, ballooned to a staggering $55 billion to expedite Trump's mass deportation agenda. The mechanism for this expansion is the Worldwide Expeditionary Multiple Awards contract, originally designed for military logistics abroad. In a move to bypass traditional competition delays, the Navy's Supply Systems Command has repurposed the vehicle for Titus, territorial integrity of the United States. So we're now spending $45 extra billion to build more of these camps. These are also going to be tent cities, not like generally physical structures in every case. It depends. For example, we know the camp that they're building in Utah, the one that's primarily going to be used to house homeless people, that is going to be a lot more soft side tent cities. We know that the plan from the Heritage Foundation's new document for the marriage boot camps is also tent-like soft cities. We're talking 10,000 person tent cities. Quote, reveal a clinical blueprint for a new sprawling network of facilities. This isn't about bed space, it's about rapid deployment in self-contained cities. Contractors are tasked with providing soft-sided tent cities to house about 10,000 each. And included in that, well, medical and death. The services extend to medical waste management with specific protocols for biohazard incinerators. Oh, you guys haven't seen the marriage boot camps video? Well, you guys are going to have to check out the most recent video I uploaded to YouTube. The Heritage Foundation's, here, I'll just link it to you. I can't even remember what I named it. Heritage Foundation's Saving America report. They want a Department of Life, functionally. Here is the video right here. Go and check that out after the stream. It's pretty bad. I'll link you guys the actual doc as well in case you want to read it. Heritage. Remember, these are the same people who did Project 2025. And, yeah. And as I've said, like, all of this lines up with America 250. America 250 specifically being, like, July 6, 2026. And I've been saying since the very beginning of this regime, if you go to whitehouse.gov and, let's see, you go into, they changed stuff around, so give me a second. I gotta find exactly where it is. You know what? 50. There has been, menu, duh. Priorities, America 2. There has been this right here. This is, actually they changed the page. There used to be a countdown. There was a legitimate countdown from like day 3 of the regime to July 4th, 2026. That when everything seems to be going full mask off. The hell is going on? Well, we're talking about incinerators being put into the new concentration camps that are being built. The extra $45 billion that has been allocated to that. Not to mention the warehouse buying spree. These are for the processing centers that are designed to be located near, like, train stations. So, like, ICE arrests you, you go to the processing center, there they decide which camp you go to. Is it a labor camp? Is it a death camp? You know, to be fair, labor camps are also death camps after, a while, so we're there, guys. Like, we're here. We are building incinerators in our death camps. We are not getting out of this easily. When this report came out, weren't they originally calling it Project 2027 or some other bullshit? No, I'm not sure. I only saw it as, like, it's named Saving America, Saving the Family Foundation for the next 250 years. And in a kind of, I think it has to have been the original name, because it lines up with America 250, and America 250 is the whole, like, Nazi Year Zero thing, you know, that the Nazis wanted to do, like the restart a new calendar. It's setting the groundwork for the next 250 years of America type thing. And by the way, like, they're building these new camps now, under the cover of a looming partial government shutdown and a nation reeling from immigration agent-involved killings. The Department of Homeland Security quietly supercharging its detention infrastructure. More camps. These camps are for you, guys. Here, I'll show you why.
The Department of Homeland Security, and ICE specifically, are aggressively expanding the surveillance state. America's most well-funded law enforcement agency of all time is using next-generation technology like location tracking, facial recognition, and artificial intelligence to create a database, not just of immigrants, but to monitor activists and really anyone they may deem to be an agitator.
It's not illegal to record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, why are you taking my information down?
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist.
So is there, in fact, a database? This administration had...
Oh, yeah, now we got a nice little database. And oops, now you're a domestic terrorist. Yeah, you are, by the way. That's how it works. Wait, the empire's fall in 250 years was Nazi propaganda? No. The Nazis wanted their, like, full, when the Nazis fully consolidated power, they wanted to do, like, Year Zero, like a new millennium, kind of like Caesar did, you know, they got a new calendar. America 250 is our version of that they want to do. Oh, great, she's a terrorist now, those goons. I mean, that is how it works. I've been trying to tell you guys. I mean, so is multiple other people, but, I mean, here's Ken Klippenstein. Homeland Security Intel Agency nominated, quote, over 4,600 people to the terror watch list, and ICE arrested more than 1,400 known or suspected terrorists, according to The Intercept. I'll link The Intercept article as well. There's not too much, like, detail in what that is, but, I mean, if you've read NSPM 7, which I hope you have, if you have not, if you're new here, I will tell you just the basic gist of what you need to know from NSPM 7. But functionally, NSPM 7 is an article that says everyone who is not an outright open Nazi is a terrorist. It's kind of it. That is basically just the case. How quickly should I take my friend's offer for refugee in Canada? Today, ideally. That would be my advice to you, ideally, is just get the fuck out of the country. I love ICE followed me. I see. Well, hello, Fed. You think you scare me, but you fucking don't, you fucking terrorists. So, according to NSPM 7, let's see what qualifies as indicators of terrorism, for those who are unaware. Anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, as in you believe that, like migrants have rights, extremism on race, you don't believe that white people are superior, extremism on gender, you believe that trans people should have rights, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family. You think gay people should get married or be able to get married and have children. You hold traditional hostility towards traditional American views on religion. You are not a very specifically evangelical Christian. Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on morality. If you believe in empathy, you are a terrorist. Go out and join the SRA. Reed Serafinsky. Hell yes. Go join the fucking SRA. I am begging you. Like, this is it. The lists are active. You're on the lists. They're coming. NSPM 6, if I had to guess, is extrajudicial execution. Wow. Yeah, no. Mixed Glitchmaster. If they're not willing to say what NSPM 6 is, this is still classified. Remember, this is a law. This is not an executive order. This is a law. They're willing to say everyone who's not a Nazi is a terrorist, but they're not willing to say what 6 is. I've laid this out before. Reverse the order. 6 comes after 7. Add in the fact that they declared fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction, which has only one penalty for when you're accused of smuggling, that is the death penalty. And who are they blaming for fentanyl smuggling? Brown people. Who smuggles the most fentanyl into the United States? White people. Yeah, it's just kinda not gonna work. I showed my mom this and she didn't think my brother or I am on this list. My brother is gay. Y'all watch me, you are on this list. If you have ever watched a left-wing content creator, if you've ever been to a protest, you are on this list. If you have ever made a tweet about Luigi Mangione, or a post that was not critical, if you've ever posted a JD Vance meme, like, you're on the list. You're all on the list. What rights don't trans people have? The right to exist, clearly, considering the fucking bounty hunters that are being put after them. The fact that they're not allowed to get their medication anymore without, like, jumping through a billion hoops, if even. I'm not even sure they're allowed to get medication anymore in the US. Someone who's trans in the US, let me know about that. Oh, and also, all trans people with American passports have their passport reported stolen the moment they leave the United States and try and enter another country, which then leads them to get deported back to the United States, which then they have to prove to a Customs and Border Patrol officer that no, their passport isn't stolen, no, they have not stolen this passport and were committing identity theft, that they are, in fact, themselves, and they are, in fact, an American citizen. You gotta convince them of that, because the only other option they have is, deporting you, which they can't do if you don't have a valid passport literally anywhere else, which makes you stateless, which makes you basically a Palestinian, which makes it so that they can do anything to you. Can you imagine anything more vague? Well, if you kept listening to me speak, you would have heard the clarification, but considering you're not a person, you're a bot, coming here to, bait engagement. The only reason I'm even letting you stay here is because you are letting me fucking springboard off you and make some points that are useful to people I actually give a shit about. My doctor is currently trying to get me with an endocrinologist to get me transitioned over to using the system to get my medication, which I'm skeptical of. Good luck. If you live near a protest, your phone is snagging the Dragnet being there, you're on the list as well. That's also true. Also, by the way, if your neighbors are on the list, you're also on the list. Thank you for giving me the right to exist. Well, if it was up to me... Hey, chat, did you hear about the time Mark sued the Soviet Union? You know that that's not true, right? Sorry, hold on. I had to ethnically cleanse a Nazi from my chat. So, I'm fucking proud to be on the list. Basically, yeah. Let them come for me. I don't give a fuck. I'm willing to die for this. Holy loud. Sorry about that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, sorry. I was doing two things at once. It doesn't matter. What I just said made literally no importance. So this is from LA. I'm going to go and assume that because it's from the LA Times, it is real. I like the energy I'm seeing displayed here. I do not advocate for this. I just like seeing it. It makes me happy to see. Don't do this. It is illegal, and we do not support or advocate for this. Personally, I just like seeing it. It's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah!
Again, do not do this. This is violent, illegal, this will get you in trouble. We are not advocating for this. It's just funny. And you know what? Can you blame these people from responding in such a manner when this is how they're being treated? Cardboard armor, who knew? Kind of funny. Well, I mean, like, they're firing pepper balls for the most part in that shot, so, like, it does work against those. If those were plastic, like, bullets, like the less lethals, probably not so much. Yeah. The memes are fire right now, that is true. It's literally fucking cereal over here.
I know. It's gonna burn.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, Brooke K. Knight. To have real functional democracy and freedom, you have to be intolerant of intolerance. So yeah, no, I think that not only should I ban Nazis, I think, personally, you know what? I'm running for president, everybody. If you elect me, which you should not do, I will be a dictator on day one. I will make camps for all of the Nazis and ICE supporters. I will go door-to-door raids with law enforcement. I will put the terrorists behind bars. Wins by a marginal victory.
They're brutalizing us. They're kidnapping our people, and I'm here to defend them, and I'll be here till the end.
Okay, what the fuck, Nightbot? Pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Can we get home bookshelf audits added to the platform? There's homes risking contagion for lack of inoculating bookshelf. Honestly, would be great, but gotta teach people to read first. Don't forget that, like, most people cannot read above a 6th grade level. So it's not really gonna help when they can't read. What was wrong with Nightbot is that the message that I wanted it to say was too long. That is what it is. Continuing on, some good news at the very least. We have seen the general striking, like-ish, I wouldn't really call it a full general strike yet, growing, but we've also seen labor unions participating. We've also seen people starting to occupy the means of consumption, which is what you have to do before you can start occupying the means of production. It's fine when you're a fascist. Yes, exactly. Now fuck off, you fascist.
Stand together. We the people stand together. We the people stand together.
6th grade reading level sounds elite in this world. Oh, I'm sure it's going down regularly. Also, report coming out from More Perfect Union just a couple days ago. Tenants across Minneapolis and St. Paul launched a Twin Cities tenant union, citing the fact their cities are under siege. They've come together to protect one another. I love seeing unions coming together, holding solidarity, working together. Solidarity together for the union makes a strong, great song. It's true. It is. Now, like, we used to be so much stronger when Americans were unionized. They spent decades destroying labor unions in this country, and that is why all of your jobs went overseas. That is a large part of why America collapsed into the shithole fourth world country that it is today. The deep state is trying to keep me from watching the stream. They do tend to do that. And then we had this large-scale national shutdown, general strike type thing that even German news covered 2 days ago.
Demonstrators across the United States are marching over aggressive federal action taken against immigrants. They've rallied in Minneapolis, where federal agents killed 2 protesters in recent weeks, and many other cities. Overtures.
It's not hypocrisy. It's literal consistency, Marked. It is. You are the hypocrites here. I need you to understand. Usually I don't even engage with these like trolls, but I just really want to put this out there. It is not hypocrisy, it's consistency. To have tolerance, you must be intolerant of intolerance. By tolerating intolerance, you allow the people who are intolerant, the hateful, Nazi, fascist, evil, demonic fucks, to then spread their propaganda. That is how we got here. I've been screaming this for 10 years. I was at the source of this infection when it happened. On 4chan, on /poll. Every accusation from a Nazi is a confession. Every time. I have literally not been proven wrong on this in 10 years. And if every accusation is a confession, woke mind virus, Nazi zombie virus, etc., 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 then if you firmly believe that every accusation is a confession, the only rational next step is, then what do you respond with? Well, you respond with doing unto them specifically what they want to do unto other groups, unto them and only them. That is that is logic. That is mathematical logic. Speaking of Paul, we'll get there when we get to Epstein. I want to finish up with the Nazi shit first. I'm gonna go pee. I'm gonna leave you guys looking at this mass organized protest and economic shutdown for like 10 seconds while I do. I'll be back, and then we will continue on. And yes, anarchist tech support. Exactly. Germany banned the swastika for a reason, and y'all still have, I don't actually know if you're in Germany, but Germany still has a fuckload of Nazis because we didn't do denazification. We only executed 10 Nazis during Nuremberg. 10. That is how many Nazis we executed at Nuremberg. 10. A lot of the ones that we gave longer prison sentences to, those were commuted. We brought them to America, gave them jobs. I don't know if we have to allow hate speech to protect free speech. No, literally it is actually the opposite. Allowing hate speech makes free speech impossible. Jesus Christ. These fucking bots are everywhere. Thank God all of my chatters that I actually trust are mods. I'm going to trust you guys to boot these fucks out as they come in. It's not really democracy to allow anti-democracy advocates to advocate against your democracy. It's literally impossible to have a functional democracy like that. Yeah, hybrid even. Alright, 2 secs. I'll be back.
From the White House that it's rethinking federal enforcement efforts did little to alleviate anger over the violence.
They marched in the South. In San Antonio, Texas, hundreds rallied to demand an end to the aggressive federal campaign against immigrants. Their message: stand up, fight back. They marched in the West. In Los Angeles, which has been heavily targeted by ICE, protesters gathered at City Hall. And they marched in the East. Downtown New York was the scene of another demonstration. At a high school in the southeastern state of Georgia, students walked out, chanting against ICE as they did so. Their message was simple:
We really, really hope that this can impact the people that are getting murdered and abused and kidnapped.
I think that it's really important when you're not affected by something to still stand up for what you know is right. And we all came together to decide that we weren't going to sit here and let everything that's happening just happen and pass us by.
Back up north in Minnesota, huge.
All right, I'm back. That's it's nice. It's not as much as the media's making out to be, but this, I believe they continued into Sunday, and that made me happy. If this happens again next week, now again, like, ideally, you show up and you keep going every day. People in Gaza still have to pay rent into the tents that they live in. Like, there's no excuse. But getting everyone in America who's famously not, exactly a country that gives a shit about anybody else, very hyper-individualistic, outside like this, is a big deal. And having it, once a week, maybe twice a week, having it every week is a good start to start continuing on from there. It's only going to grow. No, exactly. Yeah. Like 100%. And by the way, to like all of these right-wing bots that keep coming in here, you guys do understand that like my issue is with Nazis and with ICE supporters, so Nazi collaborators. There are Republicans in my community, just not supporters of the Nazi regime. There are conservatives in my community, just not supporters of the Nazi regime. The one building camps with incinerators, the one leaving death cards after kidnapping people.
These cards, I hold one up here, have a history of being used by white supremacist groups to intimidate people of color. Death cards is what they call them. This week,
unironically, seems like a reasonable punishment if I was ever in charge. Mr. The Same. I mean, don't ever put me in charge. Seriously, do not. Don't put me in charge. I will be a dictator. It'll be bad for a lot of people. It'll be good overall, but don't put me in charge.
Families in Eagle County, Colorado experienced another type of cruelty that fits into this administration's playbook. They found death cards held up in the automobiles of their family members who were taken away by ICE agents. These cards, I hold one up here, have a history.
Like, this right here is direct Nazi shit, terrorist shit, mob shit. Like, it's insane. Leaving a card, like, ICE was here. Like, it's literally like Harry Potter, Death Eater symbol in the sky after we come and kill people. I hate citing that, but like, Jesus Christ, that's the most famous example to cite on that subject there alone. So, pretty fucked. Just no Nazis. Exactly. Like, I fucking despised Henry Kissinger. If I had the ability, I would bring Henry Kissinger out from hell for 7 days to help fight the Nazis. You hate dictators, but you would be a dictator? I hate evil dictators, and I'm literally saying, do not give me power. What do you want from me? I'm being honest. Yes, I would be a dictator. That's why you shouldn't put me in power. Because, I have problems with shit like this, and I'll do something about it.
In order for you to understand the level of surveillance that is happening.
Wait, sorry, hold on. This is the quiet video. I had the louder version of this on TikTok. God damn, I really fucking hate Twitter sometimes. Could we trade Kissinger for Anthony Bourdain? I mean, they're both dead. I don't know. I just want to bring Kissinger out from hell for 1 week with, like, necromancy control so that he can't cause havoc on his own. And then he goes back to hell at the end of the week. We'd get a lot done if we did that. Where is it? Here we go.
In order for you to understand the level of surveillance that is happening right now, I need you to log in for a second. I need you to picture a map, okay? Picture Google Maps of your neighborhood. You and everybody, all of your neighbors, you and everybody in your household, everybody you know. Floating over top of your house like Sims, there's a little arrow, and that arrow contains a trust score. Dependent upon what that trust score is, you could be labeled as a domestic terrorist. So what does that number mean? How do they gather that information? And how do you get a good versus bad score? Well, I'll tell you. Here we go. The CTO, Chief Technology Officer of Palantir, of Meta.
I'd also like to remind you that it was like 2 weeks ago that Joe Lonsdale, one of the co-founders of Palantir, responded to a tweet saying that I think he said communists trying to come to the Western Hemisphere should be killed. And the co-founder of Palantir said, well, why do you think Palantir was founded? Funny enough, actually, I have a audio clip of Epstein talking about Palantir to show you in a bit.
And 2 of OpenAI's chief research officers have been sworn on as another branch in the U.S. government called Detachment 201 as lieutenant colonels. Andrew Bosworth, Bob McGrew, Shyam Sankir, and Kevin Wheel. What does Palantir bring to the mix? Why would they hire him on? Let me go over. Law enforcement records, immigration files, travel records, financial transaction metadata, phone metadata, and all call records, utility usage, license plate reader data.
You guys have seen the entire list I've made before of how, like, all of the data that gets gathered at the bottom, where it goes, all the different, like, levels it passes through, all the way up to, like, the NRO satellite in space and all that. Like, this is what that is. You now have social credit. And, again, it's your entire neighborhood. So you being on the list is not solely dependent on you. If your neighbor is on the list, then you're on the list. I'm more shocked that Kissinger wasn't on the Epstein emails. Kissinger got too much pleasure from, like, killing. I don't think he was interested. He was doing his own thing.
Facial recognition, social network graphs built from existing records. What existing records? That's where Meta comes. Meta brings identity data, social graphs, friends, followers, interactions, messages, metadata, behavioral data, like, shares, comments, dwell time, scroll speed, content data, and your sleep schedule is in there. Photos, videos, captions, metadata, location data, precise.
No. Kissinger was a capital M monster. Mr. the Same. He was. Like, absolutely was. He just also hated Nazis. Like, he's still a monster. They're both terrible. He's just a useful monster in this case. I wouldn't want, like, he would only get to have 1 week on this planet at the behest of my fucking necromancy powers. I would not let that man without an inch of give on that leash. Hell no. He was a capital M monster.
GPS if enabled. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth proximity, IP-based location, off-platform data being tracking pixels. Does Meta infer which way you lean politically? Relationship status, income bracket, shopping intent, health-related interests, emotional states.
Your utility bills, all of it. All of it goes into making these lists. Alright. Now, we're going to transition over to talking about some of these revelations from the Epstein files. Now, like, you guys have heard me talk about this before. A lot of this we've known for a long time, and I wasn't one to really, like, pay attention too much to the Epstein file drops because there wasn't too much that, like, was new or noteworthy coming out of it. We got some interesting stuff. Not anything that I didn't really know, bar a couple. There was a couple that I didn't know. But I mean, like, some real fucking interesting stuff in this batch. I don't know how they got this stuff out. So, first and foremost, I suppose, we're not going to talk about Trump, like, almost at all in this case. Like, we're going to have almost, like, 2 references to him. I don't give a fuck about him. He's unimportant. It's literally everyone else. But kind of wild to see major news outlets, like, with headlines, Donald Trump accused of measuring child's genitals with fingers. 13-year-old victim claims Donald Trump forced her into acts. Donald Trump accused of measuring kids' genitalia with fingers at auction. Like, kind of wild to see that coming out of mainstream media profiles. We all have a profile and have committed no crime. Well, I'll tell you what. It seems like the only people that weren't on this list were like genuine principal leftists, and everybody else seems to be on the list. Hell, Biden gets name dropped on the list. That was a new one. I'm not surprised, but here is 4chan having a breakdown, realizing that everything that they believe came from their fucking pedo cabal that they thought they were fighting against. The entire new right and culture wars were astroturfed by Epstein. It's all just billionaire pedo tricks, and that is true. That is true. Oh, there's wording they're legit pissed that some of those documents came out. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Trump probably is pissed because, again, as I've said in the past, there's a large incentive structure to make sure that they boot him out. He's not exactly a good puppet. I think that's going to happen right around July, but we'll see. To be fair, dude's dying. Donald Trump is currently incapable of playing golf. You understand that, right? Like he is degenerated to the point where he can't play golf anymore. One of the like 3 things in life that brings him joy. He's not long for this world. So, let's talk about 4chan. The creator of 4chan, Christopher Poole, known as Moot, was in contact with Jeffrey Epstein 3 days before /Poll opened on the board. You can see this through these emails. Now, /Poll is the source of the infection. Chomsky was in them. I wouldn't call Chomsky as principled leftist either. Yeah, I was going to say literally immediately the next sentence. You went to Russia, Liddy Bros, but like you're not wrong. So 3 days after meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, the poll board opens. The poll board is where QAnon grows. It is where all of the psyops come from. It is where the WikiLeaks collaboration, John Podesta email, like all of that shit happened here. This is the source. This is where Nick Fuentes comes from. This is where the Nazi memes come from. This is where the alt-right pipeline comes from. It was all built and developed here. And I've stated on multiple instances that Q from QAnon was Michael Flynn. Mike Flynn. And I do love being vindicated. Been saying this for like close to a decade at this point. I'm not the only one, by the way. It's just actually maddening that even now people will disagree and will argue back. But like, no, there is legitimate, documented evidence. Here, for example, this is from December 18th, 2018. These are texts between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein. Steve Bannon, Flynn hit brutal. Jeffrey Epstein, no surprise, there's more behind the curtain. Example. So, this is from Epstein to Bannon. Of course, if you think I can be helpful in strategizing, you're welcome to come to Palm Beach. My plane will fly you home for the holidays if you like. You are always helpful, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Jesus Christ, they're all so fucking cringe. Come get some rest, weather's amazing. Flynn hit brutal, no surprise, there's more behind the curtain. Long delay till March, gives you a sense of the timing. Talking about the sentencing, like the hearing. They delayed it 90 days. So I guess the report is not sent to justice until Jan 10th. Dems go berserk. Smarter people than me say he fakes tinnitus, as a heart attack can be checked, but disabling ring in the ear has no diagnosis. Like, they're over here just outright polluting this. And Bannon and Flynn are the two most, likely candidates for Q. I've been saying both of them have been Q at various points in time. Flynn was originally Q. Because QAnon came from MAGA 3X and built from there, and then Flynn got, outed as a Russian agent and blah, 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 as we continue going on. But, genuinely, everything that we've been living through, Poll was the, true national security weak spot. It literally is the epitome of every accusation as a confession. Because here's the thing. Think about some of the claims that QAnon made, right? We had the woke mind virus, Nazi zombie virus, Satanic pedophile cabal deep state, which now exists. Literally, like, I don't know about the Satanism, but I do know a lot of their foot soldiers, you know, the nihilist extremist 09A terrorists are all fucking satanic as well. I've said before, every Nazi is a pedophile. Every single one of them. Not every pedophile is a Nazi, not that that makes them better, but every Nazi is a pedophile. All of this was projection. Hell, Pizzagate is even part of this. That was one of the things that, like, kind of took me off guard, is that there's genuine ties to fucking Pizzagate in here, showing them using cheese as a code for a little girl. Pete, can you also bring the cheese holder things that you have so people don't manhandle the cheese? I only have 3. Like, these are from these, there are multiple instances of this, and a lot of that shit was being spread by these people. Because what happened was, there was a whole bunch of anonymous accounts way back at the day, like 2015-ish, 2014-ish. And they were investigating Epstein at the time. Right around 2015, right before the QAnon shit dropped, a bunch of new anonymous profiles started dropping. And once QAnon became a thing, all of these anonymous accounts flipped right over to QAnon shit. And, like, it's pretty bad. And, like, knowing that every accusation is a confession, and has always been, fucking, it's disgusting to think about this kind of shit. Like, after some of the stuff that I've read this week, from this torture, I'm still waiting and watching the melted cheese drip. Probably murdered somebody and hung them up and were watching literal blood dripping from them. Weren't Ron and Jim Watkins the most likely persons to be Q? I've never thought that in my life. It has always been Michael Flynn and Steve Bannon in my, like, case. And, like, this also proves it. Bonnets, yeah, it takes a real sicko to be a billionaire. There's no such thing as a good billionaire. Also, more on the moot subject I'm going to jump around a bit because these are a bit out of order. Jumping back to 4chan. Emails between Boris Nikolic and Jeffrey Epstein. This article describes why I find mood interesting. The potential for manipulation is huge. Washington Post. 4chan users seize internet's power for mass disruptions. This was from, like, actual Occupy Wall Street level, like, anonymous shit that they learned from and then picked up and started repeating themselves. Also, like, Epstein would post. He was a poster on 4chan as well. What about George Soros, though? He's funding all the leftist protesters. Certainly just not me. Yeah, like, I don't know where my Soros money is. Like, dude's like 98 with like $8 billion. He is a piece of shit, to be clear. He's a billionaire. There's no such thing as a good billionaire. But he certainly ain't the problem. And I haven't seen his name on this list yet. Oh, by the way, Epstein and Bannon were helping pick Supreme Court justices during term 1 of the regime. Between Epstein and Bannon, Epstein chat later today. Bannon says yes, free to speak. Starr talking to Cruz and Cotton for Kavanaugh. That's huge. I've been called many things. Human is not one of them. Winky face. Well, yeah, I mean, like, none of these people are human to me. I think of them as demons, at best. I was getting too soft. Women are bad for the knees. Jesus, all of them are such pussies and cringe. Where are you? Richmond with my dad. Kurz wants to meet you. I want to meet him. He said he's been busy with the EU. Great. Epstein, Bannon, Kurz a little too close to Brunstein, Goebbels. Just casual, chilling. Here is them talking about, like, the fallout when it looked like Trump was going to lose the election. He was trying to scale back. Like, the first admin was their test trial. They learned a lot of shit. They didn't know how a lot of stuff worked. So there was a lot more panic back then. It's part of the reason why you don't see anyone getting fired from the admin this time. Because they specifically stacked this regime with loyalists who will never question Trump, because they had so much issue with career bureaucrats stopping shit that they were trying to do last time, and just, like, outright ignoring orders, lying. Constitutional crisis, presidential border wall, I'm driving, BB 2 separate charges, newspaper and gifts, submarine left till later. At 243 pounds, Trump tips his skill into obesity, New York Times. Step 2 is a heart attack. The immigration bill, total clusterfuck. He never read it. Like, they were having a bit of a rough time there, but like clearly showing large collaboration between Epstein and Bannon, which is going to come in handy when we start talking about other countries outside of the U.S. Less people in chat is better. Drones better. Ivan from Iron Man. I mean, I don't know what you mean by that, but if the drones are their drones, I would rather have less people in chat. So what else do we have here? Oh yeah, here is August 2nd, 2015, shortly before the election. This is from Peter Attia to Jeffrey Epstein. In San Diego all week. Sounds like an awesome dinner. What are the specs of the Burbank plane? I assume BBJ is on the plane. From Epstein to Peter, where are you? I might be in LA Monday. Burbank to look at the inferior of the other BBJ. Tonight, though, I'm having dinner with Musk, Thiel, and Zuckerberg. Are we going to be talking about the Ronnie, the Saudi essayer? Not particularly. Much of this I'm going to be working around Trump. Trump's not the important part here. Musk, Thiel, and Zuckerberg. Very interesting 3 names to show up in the document on August 2nd, 2015, shortly before the election. Shortly before any of the, I think actually this might, well, let me double check on the date. Was that before or after the drops of the Podesta files? Because that is also related to this. That was right before, actually, August 2nd. So before any of the Hillary Clinton Podesta files leak onto WikiLeaks, Epstein has a meeting with Musk, Thiel, and Zuckerberg. I'd also like to remind you guys that Thiel set up the same kind of dinner party that he had in this admin early on when they had all of the corporate tech CEOs in one room together. They had a big dinner at, I think it was the White House or Mar-a-Lago, whichever one. That same dinner with almost the same exact guest list, including Google, Facebook, like Palantir CEO, as well as like other leadership from Palantir. Like obviously Thiel's hosting, but like he had Alex Karp there. We had Zuckerberg, a couple of his people, all of the terrible tech people also had another dinner party that was hosted by Thiel. That one was hosted inside of Trump Tower shortly after the election. Remember during the 80s and 90s that we thought people were crazy conspiracy theorists when they said that all elites were pedophile murderers? Those were more innocent times. Well, to be fair, I didn't think people were crazy for that. I just knew that it wasn't the people who they were saying. Because every good lie is based in truth. So when Alex Jones was on television talking about, the satanic pedophile cabals killing and eating children, like I know that shit is real. I just knew that they were only using like 1/10 of the story. It was projection. They only mentioned their political enemies. Now, did they lie? No, of course. The Clintons were also doing that. So was Biden, clearly. So was Bush. But they never mentioned themselves. That was the only part about that. What else we got? So, Peter Thiel was apparently familiar with the Zorro Ranch, which is a ranch that is pretty fucked up. All right. Here is one of the more fucked up things that I've read. In the halls, Ghislaine said that she was beautiful. She was, not is. She was a beautiful girl. I heard her. Where is she? Why'd she stop whimpering? She was born. I heard the tiny cries. I can't do this anymore. In attachment to this email, which is going to be a fucking pain in the ass to read with my dyslexia, between Jeffrey and somebody, but mention of Thiel. Mark, so Sarah, it was so short it reads dinner. More on connectivity. Jensen's article and hence data on fishermen Kerala is much too old. It appears to have formed the basis for your conclusion already profit. Fresher, more nuanced work has been done. As Reed might have told you, I have tried over the years to fund the most rarefied of the sciences. Things that would most like not receive government grants. Jesus, these people can't type. However, my so-called expertise is really money. What is it? How can it be used? Its burdens and benefits. Over the past 2 days, I've had great fun teasing and informing some world leaders at my ranch, each too politically concerned to acknowledge their lack of understanding and experience in public, in how much, in how they might deal with the new zero interest rate environment. Sums up a country, wealth given to the new complex financial system, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. Then we get to, and we're going to talk about the financial reform and all of that, because that comes up again as well. But Teal might have come to the ranch this weekend. You're welcome to visit. It's a pretty unusual and private place. This is a ranch known to be where women and girls were taken to give birth to Epstein's babies before they were taken away and killed. Flipping. Unlike drugs, a child's body can be sold over and over again. Jesus Christ, I'm going to vomit. This is not surprising, but there's no such thing as a child prostitute. Yeah, no, that's just rape. They are children and cannot consent. That is true. They are missing the biggest in my own backyard and so many more, like Mar-a-Lago, where I see Mr. Joe and Miss Anne. So, like, pretty fucking disgusting, but name-dropping Mar-a-Lago, where he also sees several children. Yes, you can. Though, to be fair, I don't think he can speak. I think I've kind of just, like, muted him anyway, so it doesn't matter. Circuit overload. Honestly, just keep coming back. Give me those views. Give me those tasty, fashy views. Even though, I will limit your right to speech. Because you have none. Not in my domain. Some MAGAs are waking up after this last drop with... Again... The drop before this one, Pre-Breakfast Banana, detailed how Trump raped somebody and then that, like, rape victim had a baby that they then killed and decapitated and, like, threw in a river or, like, ate or some shit like that. I don't think that his base is ever going to change. Now, like, some on the right are going to wake up, sure. That's great. Love to see that. But... I don't think that there's a large-scale change that's going to be naturally occurring from this. I do think that there's a pretty distinct chance that the people more powerful than him will use this as an opportunity to oust him from the position because he's a shitty puppet to have. It's kind of funny that Elon did actually want to go to the island and everyone found him too fucking annoying. He's been to the island, Rondo. They just found him too annoying to invite back to the island. He's been to the island. I was not prepared for how bad this was going to be. I knew it was going to be bad. I was prepared for how bad it was going to be. There's only bits of this that have surprised me, really. This is one of them. This bit fucking shocked me. This, I could not have predicted. DOJ Epstein files confirm Kaaba Kiswa pieces were shipped from Saudi Arabia to Jeffrey Epstein with the religious significance explicitly explained in the emails. This is like from Mecca. This is like the holiest site of Islam. They took a piece of it and then sent it to Epstein. By the way, the black piece was touched by minimum 10 million Muslims of different denominations, Sunni, Shia, and other. They walk around the Kaaba 7 rounds. Every one tries as much as they can to touch it. They keep it further. Like, that is some wild shit. I could not have imagined. Most independents and some chunk of Republicans have soured on Trump. Again, see, here's my issue. I don't give a fuck about Trump. They all still think Trump is the problem. Trump is unironically, being evil like he is, the least evil person in the administration. The least dangerous person in the admin. And he's still, like, evil. That's, like, highest sacrilege to my understanding. That should realistically start a holy war. So emails from shipping records name who's involved. Aziza Al-Mahdi, a UAE-based Saudi woman, sent a 22nd of March 2017 email explaining the Kaaba cloth, stating it was touched by a minimum 10 million Muslims during the Tawaf and carried prayer, tears, and hope. Jeffrey Epstein was the final recipient, delivered to his St. Thomas home via LSJE LLC. Daphne Wallace, Epstein associate, coordinated the delivery. Abdullah Al-Ma'ari handled the Saudi side coordination. Genuinely, I hope the Saudi Crown Prince puts that guy to death for, like, on principle. Like, religiously. Like, I can't imagine how that could, like, I know that they're all involved. I know the Saudi Crown Prince was also, like, friends with I read Mamdani, Jesus Christ. Was friends with Epstein. But, like, no fucking way that they can allow that to be known? I don't know. Yeah, with different advisors, Trump might actually do good things, like if we replace Stephen Miller with Zohran Mamdani. Trump literally is the same as Joe Rogan. He has the personality of the last person he talked to, the beliefs of the last person he spoke with. We know this from literally people in the first admin. Bannon said this. Like, we know how they manipulated him. You make him think it's his idea. You lie and say, hey, remember this fantastic idea that you had a little while ago? Everyone was clapping when you said it. He never said the thing at all. He'll just pretend that he did. Also, Ron DeSantis, famously homophobic Florida governor, revealed as homosexual by the Epstein files, which, again, not surprising, not that important, but very funny. In 2008, my boss said to me, the FBI is on the phone. Did you see James Bulger kidnap a child? I said, I did. That night, I was raped by Ron DeSantis. I woke up naked on the floor, tied up and beaten while James Bulger stood there with a gun. Then Ron DeSantis came in and raped me. He said that by the time I remember him raping me, I'll be locked up as a psychopath. Then a woman came in and faked sex with me, and then the woman is Nancy Mace. Okay. Wild shit. This is, I need evidence that it was that far. I'll believe it on principle because it's funny, but I need more than that. The woman came in and faked sex with me, and that woman is Nancy Mace. James Bull. I don't know. I couldn't remember this. This was my punishment for telling. I'm not a psychopath, nor am I a predator. Like, I don't fucking know. James Bulger would be Jack Nicholson's character in the movie The Departed. I haven't seen that movie. Probably should. Like, he just discovered something new and had to tell everybody. Basically, yeah. Also, what's up, Curly Dorothy? I don't know what to think about that one. Women fakes... Well, no. Nancy Mace being the woman. Because I can see why they did that. Because, like... Dude got raped by Ron DeSantis. Then they brought in a woman who was going to pretend to be raped by the person that DeSantis raped so that they could put the person DeSantis raped in prison. So, the fact that that's Nancy... Surely someone else with the name Nancy Mace, right? He plays a mobster / FBI informant, Whitney Bulger in that movie. I think his real name was James. Oh, makes sense. Funny enough. By the way, like, I still cannot understand how, like, people don't get the fact that, like, the mob is in charge here. The Russian and Italian mob have had ties with Donald Trump going back to the 80s. Anyone from New York can tell you this. And as we're about to see, the ties to Russia just do not stop. They're everywhere. All right, so what happened on 10/7/16. I was gonna read this as hold on. Month, day, year, day, month, year. Which way do you Americans do it? Because here we do day, month, year. Okay. What happened on the 10th of August 2016? It's the American version. Well, 3 notable things happened. The Grab 'em by the Pussy video was released. The Russia-hacked Podesta emails were released on WikiLeaks at the same time, and Obama's DNI issued a warning about Russian interference. So, what do we got? 1 month before the 2016 election, Epstein's assistant puts his girlfriend, Karina Churyk, in charge of a, quote, important lunch between Epstein, Peter Thiel, and Vitaly Churkin, former Russian ambassador and close confidant of Vladimir Putin. Thiel had recently bucked all of Silicon Valley by endorsing Trump at the RNC in a headline speech. Morning, Kanya, Jeffrey would like you to be in charge of important lunch today. It's for 3 p.m. Peter Thiel, Vitaly Churkin will be coming. Blah, blah, blah. One day later, Epstein emails Thiel with a link to John Podesta's hacked emails on WikiLeaks. This appears to be the email that led to Churkin, Thiel, and Epstein and having their lunch being scheduled, which isn't as relevant. I'm reading this backwards. I am reading this backwards. Whatever. This came first. This side, right side comes first. Left side comes second. But Epstein pitches meeting Churkin to Thiel, Russian ambassador most involved. He and Ambassador Sergei Lavrov control a lot, is what they control, for one. But, continuing. Post. If you look at how many times the latest batch of Epstein files has the name Vladimir Putin in it, it is 1,000. If you look at how many times the latest batch of Epstein files has the word Moscow in it, it is 10,000. 10,000 mentions of Moscow. The British Daily Mail reports that Jeffrey Epstein himself may have been working for Moscow. In fact, he was working far more for the Russians than he was for Israel. I'll tell you that. According to sources cited by the outlet, Epstein brought young women from Russia into the United States to set up honey traps, targeting politicians, billionaires, members of royal family. He worked with the FSB, with the GRU. Are all Russians pedos, for fuck's sake? Well, all Nazis are pedos, Rundo. And most Russians post, 2005 are Nazis because they were the number one exporter of right-wing white nationalist Nazi propaganda for decades until it became us. And that's because it was useful for them. They had decades of just marinating in that at home. But they told me Russia, that it was a hoax. Yeah, because it wasn't a hoax. That's why. Here is a correspondence between Alexander Dugin and Epstein in April of 2014. This is from Epstein. I just came back to the island. I had such an amazing day. Crazy. Skydiving, scuba diving, sky ride with girls. Thank you. I wish you were here and this great day could be shared with you. How was your meeting? Are you okay there? Lots of hugs. P.S. I have researched some movies we can watch when you're back. Oh, okay. Never mind. This isn't to Dugin. I imagined it was. But have you heard of Putin? And Dugin, Putin's advisor, man famously called Putin's brain by Russian state media. And then we look at the UN files, which are right over here. Lots and lots of people who have been to the UN having correspondences with Epstein as well. Here's Maria Drakova. Her name appears 1,639 times. She was a senior figure in the pro-Kremlin youth movement called Nashi. She became internationally known after kissing Putin on stage at the Sigler Forum in 2009. Her job was to... This was Russian TPUSA, basically. And personally overseen events that were overseen by the Kremlin to cultivate loyal political elites. Funny because I spend time in Russian Telegram chats and they all bitch that Putin is a NATO agent because how he commands the war in Ukraine. Yeah, but Russians are famously stupid. I am also in the Russian Telegram chats. I've been in them for a while. I used to do quite a lot of Ukraine coverage. And Trump is not a Russian asset. Trump and, the thing is, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin believe the same things. America has been moving towards Russia at the behest of Epstein for 10 years because it benefits the wealthy. As in, between Sergei Belyakov and Epstein. Who is this? When? Meeting with Peter Thiel, my very good friend that I'd organize a conference with in Moscow. Any interest? If Peter Thiel, which we already know is compromised by the Russians. He is a member of fucking Opus Dei, which also J.D. Vance is a member of Opus Dei, which also relates to the Heritage Foundation, which relates to the Russian Orthodox Church, and round and round and round and round we go. All of this is fucking Russian propaganda. All of this is Russian psyops that were used to destroy this country. Why? Not because we work for Russia. Because the oligarchs want to live like Russia. Between Belyakov, Thiel, and Epstein. Yes, would love to schedule some time. I'll be sending over some options for July 8th very shortly. Like, yeah, no. Sergey, let me know when you're in San Francisco and would have time to meet me. I'm CCing my Alyssa to help coordinate. What's up, Gus Broadcast? It's just been the case this whole fucking time. Oh, and it's not just America. It's the global far right. It is Le Pen in France. It is Meloni in Italy. It is Farage and Reform in the UK. It is the AfD in Germany. All of it. It is the right wing globally. The entire right-wing culture. Every belief, every ideal, every piece of propaganda, every argument, every debate came from Epstein. It came from these pedophiles. Here's Le Pen being funded by Russia and being coordinated through Epstein. So Michael Wolff, Jeffrey Epstein, yes, and Hannity seemed jet-lagged and had a bit of desperation. I saw SB in London yesterday, seemed really especially paranoid about reporters seeing me with him. My guess is that he's working on his relationship with Trump, who he sees as a newly ascendant being, and being seen with me might queer that. He went on Hannity last night and will be on Piers Morgan tomorrow, and that seemed nigh towards an audience of one. He was having a meeting yesterday with the French right-wingers, including Le Pen, husband, about refinancing the National Front Party, because apparently a good part of their money comes from Russia. Two thoughts here. These guys seemed like idiots. Pure Britannia. I mean, not wrong in that case. And Bannon, surrounded by his own thuggish-looking security people and wacky blogger advisors, thrives precisely because the world of populism is so unprofessional and farcical. Like even Epstein was making fun of this shit. Do you know how pathetic you have to be? That the pedophile who can barely type is making fun of you. Also, I showed this a while ago. This was from early in January. A French judge saying that Trump goons tried to pressure her over Le Pen's prosecution, and she was so taken aback that she had to go tell the French Foreign Office.
J'ai rencontré deux émissaires de l'administration Trump qui sont venus. On devait avoir une discussion sur les droits de l'homme, comme j'en ai régulièrement avec des diplomates de pays alliés. Et assez rapidement, la conversation a tourné autour de la situation pénale de Marine Le Pen, avec l'idée de chercher des éléments auprès de moi et peut-être auprès d'autres personnes qu'ils allaient rencontrer, qui pourraient accréditer l'idée qu'il s'agirait d'un procès purement politique pour l'empêcher d'être candidate, et donc dans une action qui aurait comme but de rechercher des éléments avisés d'ingérence. Et j'ai été tellement surprise de cet échange et de la tonalité de cet échange, qui restait très...
So beyond that, we've also covered the fact that we are spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to interfere in Canada by propping up a secessionist movement in Alberta. Are you telling me that the Trump admin tries to interfere with the affairs of sovereign nations? That's crazy. I mean, they literally did publish the national security strategy threatening to interfere in European politics if Europe didn't allow the right to take power, which... pretty clear indication of that is exactly what they are doing and intending to do. It's almost like our admin has a very similar thought process to another nation that we know that proudly does that shit. Yeah, it's almost like none of this is surprising or should be even remotely surprising. Fuck ICE. Continuing to fuck ICE. ICE is a terrorist organization. Now, continuing. What else we got? Here we go. Farage. Oh wait, first, so as usual, when we hate some groups of people, we tend to focus on the worst representatives of that group. Helps to dehumanize, but it's also cloud judgment, makes you underestimate the enemy. Well, exactly. That's why I get so mad when people are so caught up about Trump. Trump is barely important here. The enemy is the Nazis. The enemy is the global right, because they all believe the same thing. All of their identity has been created from the same, source. It's again, I've been saying this for a decade. I was on 4chan when Poll opened. I was there. I was at the site of the infection, the source, when it happened. So, continuing on. This is an email exchange that is relating to Epstein, Bannon, Thiel, Trump, Farage, and Putin. This is between a redacted person, which I'm going to go ahead and just guess is Epstein, because it's the same logo as the other text, but it's between Bannon. From Bannon. I am now advisor to Front, Salvini, the League, AFD, Swiss Peoples, Orban, Land of Freedom, Farage. Next May is European Parliament elections. We can go from 92 seats to 200, shut down any crypto legislation or anything else that we want. Now, they do want to shut down crypto legislation for a reason, and we're going to get to that as we continue going. By the way, here to Peter Thiel from Epstein, Brexit, just the beginning. Very clear. Return to tribalism, counter to globalism, amazing new alliances. You and I both agree zero interest rates were too high. Zero interest rates were too high. And as I said in your office, finding things on their way to collapse was much easier than finding the next bargain. They literally destroyed the world for more money. That's them openly talking about it. The National Populist Front never went away. Yeah, no. Of course they didn't. And they're about to be far more prominent because America is helping them. We literally threatened European governments. Also, again, do you know how many times Farage has been on Russian state media? 12 years ago, UKIP leader Nigel Farage, analysis of David Cameron. UKIP Nigel Farage on European bailouts, October 2011. UKIP Nigel Farage, Russia Today, February 2012. Yeah, no, he's been getting paid by Russia. There are several members of Reform who have, in the last year, the last 365 days, pled guilty to taking money from the Russians. Nigel Farage, not a Russian asset at all, just met Maria Zakharova from the Kremlin endorsing Nigel Farage in Clacton. She's director of Department of Information and Press at the Russian Ministry of Affairs. Yeah, exactly. Definitely not a Russian, plant asset. None of that. Couldn't be. Or, Tommy Robinson, far-right agitator, foreign-funded agitator, appointed as ambassador to an unregistered charity connected to a Russian state black PR operation linked to a sanctioned firm. Here, I'll link this one for you guys, in case you want to see it. I mean, no one likes thinking about Tommy Robinson, so, there's that. Again, Brexit's just the beginning. They openly said that. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, Alex Gallagher. How about this one? From, Thorbjorn Jagland to Jeffrey Epstein. The next true global currency should be the Russian ruble, not the China renminbi. Epstein was a freelance contractor. Epstein worked for literally anybody who would pay him. Who had the highest bidder. He had no loyalty to any country, it didn't matter. It was about money, and it was about providing him access, and it was about providing him with the freedom to continue doing what he does. He worked with several countries. He worked with several intelligence agencies. He did blackmail people. That was not the primary use case of his island. First off, as I've said before, a lot of these cases, you didn't need to blackmail these people. These dudes were friends. They would do drugs, drink, and talk about shit while raping children together. And that would all get recorded on the cameras and the microphones, and then would get, used as blackmail. That still happened. But, you didn't really need to blackmailed them. Everyone kind of knew, first and foremost. But beyond that, it was networking. It was crime, doing crime together. They were organizing crime. There's a reason that they're using RICO law against the left, because every accusation is a confession, and therefore they have to treat their enemy like their enemy should technically treat them. Now they exist in the form that they are. Like Donald Trump is the president, the people in charge are the people in charge because of the mob. But fundamentally should have just taken them out with RICO law back in the 90s. We know that Donald Trump was using his hotels as like a place to traffic children and drugs from. We know that Trump was getting deliveries of fucking methamphetamine and benzos direct to him by biker gangs at clubs in the cities in the 90s. The man's name was Teflon Don, guys, come on. All of this has been in the work for fucking ever. And like, you guys don't believe me when I say all of this that we are living through has been in the works forever. Here's a 2013 reference to Palantir. Between a phone call, this is a clip from a 3-hour audio recording. A phone call between Ehud Barak, who was leaving official government service in Israel, when he called Jeffrey Epstein looking for guidance. And let's take a listen to what Epstein tells him.
He thought there was 2 cyber companies. Look out, and even though I know Peter, I've never met Peter Thiel. And everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts sort of strange, like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah. He looks under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir.
2013.
Pallen. Tier. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company. And look out.
Palantir, Palantir?
Yes.
How you write Thiel? Thiell?
Thiel.
Jesus Christ, fucking
LLY.
No. Thiell.
I mean, doesn't destroying the world get boring? Have you not watched Fallout? They want to be Vault-Tec. They want to rule over the ashes. Also, like, they don't really want to destroy the whole world. They just want to destroy the world for anyone who's not them.
So he thought that Peter would put you on the board of Palantir. Peter Thiel is one of the best. I've never met him. He's going to come here next week. So I wanted to talk to him after I talked to you. Okay. He and Andreessen, it's called Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz, that's what they pay Larry.
Oh, look! Mark Andreessen, Larry Ellison, Peter Thiel, being brought up by Jeffrey Epstein in 2013. The same names that I keep yelling at you. The same names of the demons that have been doing this for decades. The same people responsible for the Great Chinese Firewall. It's literally all the same people, because this has been an ongoing plot for 2 decades, or more even. Invest in bottle caps, folks. I mean, like, I don't think we're going the Fallout route. I think we're far more likely to go either the Cyberpunk 2077 route or the One Piece route. So,
$1 million a year. Just to advise them.
It's probably anti-Semitic to point it out. Well, I mean, like, they'll call it that, but it is literally anti-Semitic to not call it out.
Andreas and?
Andreessen, Andreessen, and Horowitz.
And Howard?
Horo, Horowitz. Horowitz.
Ah, Horowitz.
Yes.
What they are? It's a lobbyist. What they are doing?
They are the biggest venture capital people in Silicon Valley.
Well, bigger than Sequoia.
It's fucking wild that the pedo protectors are being proven right in real time and they don't care. I said this months ago, that Donald Trump could have stepped on stage on day 1 and shouted how much he likes to diddle children, and it wouldn't have changed a thing. In fact, like, would have saved his ass a bunch of trouble if he did. I honestly don't know why he didn't. Like, he genuinely could have. You could do it today. Still.
These are the new Kleiner Perkins. Everybody, these are the smart boys.
Yeah.
So those two companies right away, in terms of, I said that we need now, in the next 3 weeks, if you're going to leave.
Well, they don't want to slow aging, but immortality is kind of one of the things that some of them want. Alex, Teal specifically is transhumanist. He doesn't believe in extending his lifespan. He wants to combine tech and meat into some abomination. People in Trump administration keep showing up in the Epstein files. It makes sense that Trump would want to surround himself with other pedophiles and island predators. Blood in, blood out. They all have the shared goal of protecting each other. Literally, yeah, exactly. Tara Wen, that's what I've been saying. There's a reason why you've not seen a single person fired from the cabinet this time around. That kept happening last time around. And it's because the people they picked are the ones that they trust, the ones that have loyalty. Because the main issue they had last time was people who weren't loyal to them, either lying, not following orders, or leaking to the press. Yeah, I had a Trumpophile tell me at work the other day that the victims were asking for it. They're all vile. Because of the new hate speech restrictions in Australia, I literally cannot tell you what I actually want to say about that. So, go check out my video on that. Also, join the SRA. By the way, if you guys over in Twitch haven't followed me on YouTube, I've been banned twice on Twitch already. I will not be lasting there much longer, so go and jump over and drop me a follow on YouTube and drop a like while you're at it too, please. I would very much appreciate it. Here's another one. Genuinely, did these people, never expect any of this to come out? Because some of the ways that, here's an email between, someone Russian, I can't read Cyrillic, and Jeffrey Epstein, but this is just openly calling for a hitman from Epstein to some Russian. How are you? I need a favor. There's this Russian girl from Moscow, blank. She's attempting to blackmail a group of powerful businessmen in New York. It is bad for business for everyone involved. She should arrive New York Saturday of last week, staying at the Four Seasons on 57th Street. Any suggestions? This is just hey, can you kill this bitch for me? Who's the one viewer that didn't like? Shame on you. On this, on the stream right now? Probably one of the bots that we kicked or banned. Sergei Belyakov, thank you. For someone who can read Cyrillic. Alright, so that's from Sergei Belyakov. Same person who also met with Teal in this case. That email is wild. This human being is just bad for business. Literally, I mean, yeah, it's not the worst one. The worst one was still the one that said drugs you can only sell once, but a human you can sell over and over again. That one was fucking horrifying. I can find that one again. Hold on. What's up, Paul Yessing? I'm just looking for this horrifying message, because I just want to show it again so that nobody forgets that this is the level of depravity and anti-human behavior. These are demons. These are not people. Flip it. Unlike drugs, a child's body can be sold over and over again. This is not surprising, but there's no such thing as a child prostitute. They are children and cannot consent. They are missing the biggest, In My Own Backyard, and so many more, like Mar-a-Lago, where I see Mr. Joe and Mrs. Ann. It's fucking horrific. Also, mind you, admitting that they rape children while they do it. He's an oddity, but no man wants to die. What does that have to do with, literally calling in a hitman to murder somebody? Who's Joe and Annie? Well, I don't know. Joe could be Joe Biden. He was name-dropped in the latest batch of files. I don't know who Annie is in this case. But Biden did get named on 2 separate files. I'll show you those. 2 so this section here, she has identified Ghislaine Maxwell as a woman who came up to Richard Marinko's home in Mexico many times in 2010 and 2011. Nancy Marinko set up sexual trips for her when she was 10 or 11 years old. We know of death threats against her because of testimony she gave in 2018 against Kelly, Biden, and Wayne in the sex abuse case in Mexico. Right now we have her in her safe location. These are, this is the data set. So if you are looking for the specific files that name Joe Biden, that will be EFTA 00165128.pdf and also the same but 127.pdf. So you can go find the Biden files right over there. Redacted, that's all I'm gonna say. Fair enough. In this case being U.S. Embassy covered up child sex trafficking in Mexico. Biden and Clinton's raped a girl named Carla in Cancun. So I told you a month ago, I have continued interviewing the young victim Carla, and she has finally opened up after her guardian was attacked and beaten by U.S. agents in Chetamon. She has disclosed where she met Epstein, whose home they visited in New York. MD, what was it? Fuck, what's MD again? I should know this date. Fuck, what state is MD? Hold on, that's gonna drive me crazy. Maryland. I don't know why they used the D. I don't know why I was thinking any other state. That was the last one that would have come to mind. New Mexico, Florida, Virgin Islands, Cozumel, Playas de Carmen, and Cancun in just the last 2 years with Marinko. The names she has associated with him and these visits to Cancun include Clinton's, Biden's, Wayne, older politicians and lawyers. She has a photographic memory, is an excellent artist, blah, 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 blah. So go check out those files. It's pretty bad. Pretty fucking evil. What else do we got? Because we had a few more interesting ones. Also, there was trafficking from Turkey happening as well. One of the people that were named is the, funny enough, the CEO of the Rixos hotels in Turkey. Also, the CEO of TRT, which is the Turkish state-run media organization, very close friend of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the dictator of Turkey. So he's in these files, and it's disgusting. I will not be in Dubai on the 9th and 10th. I will be going a bit later. I'm an EU citizen, so I get scholarship and res I can pay after uni. I'd be studying nutrition, dietitian. I need education and paper on the wall so I can go work in the industry. But I need uni first. Currently in Paris. Where are you and what have you decided to do? This being... Show the fucking translation. Dite anata... And why is this not translating? Alright, whatever. I'll just read it in Turkish. This is someone being groomed by Epstein to be brought over to the United States. Beyond just from Turkey, they were also bringing people from non-US, non-English speaking countries like Eastern Europe, Czech Republic, Romania, a lot of people from Russia, a lot of children from Ukraine, stuff like that. It's bad. It's all of them, yo. All of them. There's nobody who is not one of us, the left, the actual, real, honest-to-God left who's not in these fucking files. If anything, I'm vindicated on being correct for about 10 years that QAnon was a Russian psyop and that every accusation of theirs was a confession of things they were either doing or wanted to do, and B, that, we are and always have been the protagonists of this story. Just us. The left, the actual left, has been the protagonists of this story the whole fucking time. And there are some cleaning made in top of all of that in the J files by the Patel team. Oh, yeah, no, of course. There's quite a lot of, removal. And this is, I think they only released 3 million files this time. You guys understand that there are hundreds of terabytes of shit that was taken off of Epstein's servers and stuff. Terabytes. There's videos. There's footage. There's CSAM that they're not going to show us. There's I saw one image of like 2 chicken breasts on a plate with the middle of that being redacted. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that that was a human body part, because, you know, it does say that they did eat people in those. I am surprised that they didn't lie and add Vosham. Honestly, like, I'm literally surprised that there isn't more people that, like, are on our side that got named. I thought that there would have been more people that are on our side, that pretend to be on our side, but that were still with them, that would have got named. Like, I genuinely thought. Can it be you being Turkish, you focus more on Russia because of historical confrontation, because of two countries? No. First off, I talk shit about Turkey a lot. I don't even like Turkey. Secondly, I talk shit about Russia because I know about Russia by A, having people that I know who live in Russia, and by working with multiple people who work for Ukraine, and by also just having covered Ukraine for a year and a half, being in Russian Telegram channel. I like, what do you know about Russia? Because I genuinely think that you don't know, like, the real Russia. I don't think you understand, like, the kind of shit that happens in Russia. Here, hold on. Here's how Russians treat their own. Here's how Russians treat their own.
Вот пидоры, блядь. Съебаться хотели с позиции, нахуй. Не выполнять приказ. Что ты пиздишь? Что ты, блядь, пиздишь, блядь? Что, нахуй? Не надо. А ты что? Что, блядь?
Не надо.
Что? Жри!
Oh, you missed the ranch bit? I'll show it to you in a second, Glitchmaster.
Блядь, жри, сука! Пидорасы, блядь! Хули, блядь!
Прости, честно слово, не повторю.
Работать надо, ничего, блядь!
Okay, you being closer to Russia and having a Russian family necessarily means that you are less of a credible source when you are defending the genocidal state of Russia. You know, the ones openly trying to genocide Ukraine and talking about it. Whereas there are people in Russia who directly counter your claims. In fact, there's a video that I actually want to watch. I've been wanting to watch this one for a while, and I think today might be the perfect opportunity to do so. Not because of like anything you said, but just on the premise of we're talking about propaganda. And let me just set that up. Also, Jet, could you do me a favor? Could you check if Pep is still streaming? Because if Pep's not still streaming, then I will have to change who we're going to raid after I finish today. You need to get Phil Eitner on here, Viz. He's a badass living in Ukraine to report. I would love to, but like I don't have that much reach, so you know. Thanks for the vulgarization avec the share of information. I'm not sure what you meant by that, but you're welcome. So real quick before we jump into the video that I want to watch from Russia, one more thing. And, oh, sorry, 2 more things. I forgot I was going to remind the ranch. This is what the ranch is about, Glitchmaster. It is Epstein's ranch called Visora Ranch, and it's where women and girls were taken to give birth to Epstein's babies before they were taken away. And also, like, Teal was there. Like this is, yeah, it's pretty bad. You can ask about getting some Ukrainians on? I will. Remind me about that later, please. Thank you. And thanks, Jet. Cool. Good to know. The other thing was Germany arrested this morning 5 men over alleged Russian sanction violations. Authorities say thousands of shipments, including parts of Russian arms, were secretly routed via shell companies since 2022. That is entirely, like, that fits perfectly. Yeah, here, I'll link that one for you to read. It's pretty horrifying, not gonna lie. Well, not that the video is propaganda, or the subject is propaganda. Oh yeah, no, the subject is propaganda. This is a Russian living in Russia talking about what propaganda is like from a Russian perspective. Now, like, this is a Russian who's not, like, pro-Putin.
I grew up in Russia, and when people in the West talk about propaganda, I usually understand the theory they're describing. But emotionally it feels foreign, because what they imagine is very clean, very cinematic. Someone lies, someone believes the lie, end of story. That's comforting, because it suggests there is a clear villain and a clear victim. Real propaganda is messier, more boring, more human. For a long time I thought propaganda was something that only worked on people who weren't very smart. I really believed that. I thought, I can tell when something is nonsense, I can recognize manipulation, I am not a child. And that belief itself is exactly what propaganda relies on. Because propaganda doesn't need to make you stupid, it just needs to make you tired. When you live inside it, propaganda doesn't arrive as an event. There is no moment where you say, ah yes, now the propaganda has begun. It's just the part of the environment, like humidity.
Oh, everything he says lines up perfectly with everything that, like, I have read, everything that I see on a daily basis. Like, this is the truth of it.
Like background noise you don't consciously listen to, but which still affects how you feel. It's the TV that's always on in someone else's apartment. I remember a specific conversation that killed something in me a little. I was talking to someone I knew casually, not a close friend. We were discussing something we'd both heard on the news. I pointed out very calmly that what he was repeating contradicted what had been said not long ago. I even gave an example. He listened, nodded, and then said, almost casually, well, you know how it is. Everything is complicated. That was it. No argument, no tension, just a smooth exit from reality. I realized in that moment that there was no conversation to be had. Not because he was aggressive or ideological, but because the idea of coherence itself didn't matter anymore.
Exactly, Sylvie. The life around you is the propaganda. Do you live in a society with commerce? Congratulations, you're subjected to propaganda. True. I got a sense of Russian propaganda. It's relentless and targets everything. They put more effort in but the thing is, you're not understanding what the propaganda is. People have no idea how deep this video is. Like, this is the truth of the matter. Now, by the way, like, understand, propaganda is not a good or a bad thing. It's a neutral term. It is literally just wording, rhetoric, media that is designed to change your mind on something, to get you to act in a certain way. Like, it's just trying to convince somebody. That's what propaganda means, neutrally. But the way that it is deployed in our modern world, and specifically in Russia, is it is your whole life. You live the propaganda.
Consistency wasn't expected. That's when propaganda starts doing its real work. Not when you believe it, but when you stop expecting truth at all. Western discussions often assume propaganda's goal is loyalty, flags, passion, belief. That happens sometimes, sure, but it's not necessary.
Propaganda is not by definition a lie. Propaganda, by definition, is literally what I said it was. It is not a lie. There is good like, I am a propagandist, technically. Propaganda is the systemic or biased or misleading, systemic or biased or misleading dissemination of information, images, or ideas. Systemic is what I'm using here for me. Are ideas designed to manipulate emotions, attitudes, and behaviors to advance specific political, military, or social agendas. That is the definition of propaganda. If it's not propaganda, it's called truth. Well, truth can also be propaganda. It's the way that we use the word propaganda that's what, like, people colloquially think it means. But the actual definition of propaganda is not, you know, positive or negative. It's just neutral.
A population that's disengaged, cynical, and emotionally exhausted is far easier to manage than one that's angry and curious.
True. I am also biased against Confederates and Nazis. So, yeah.
Propaganda overwhelms you until your brain quietly decides this topic is too expensive to process properly. I remember mornings when I'd wake up, open my phone, see another heavy headline, and feel a physical resistance. Not fear, not denial, just resistance. Like my body saying, if you let this in right now, your whole day is gone. so I'd scroll past it, not because I forgot, but because I wanted to be able to function. This is the part people...
What he's describing is so far-reaching and insidious, I don't even think propaganda is a proper term for it anymore. The breaking of the human mind's relationship to any concept of coherence, functionality, reality, etc. It's much more consistent with... It's mind control. You're right, actually. The propaganda was like decades ago. Now we're at the mind control stage. In fact, like, we've been doing mind control since the 60s. Hell, Putin is in charge because of the mind control shit that we did to Russia following the collapse of the Soviet Union. If you haven't read The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein, highly recommend. Communists did the same, Putin just leading to the same narrative. Oh yeah, no, yeah, we're the reason for that. The communists did the same because Stalin was a fascist and not a communist. Lenin was, maybe before he took power, and then Trotsky fucked him over and made him worse, and they never got rid of capital, so they never actually got rid of capitalism. And then going after the fall of the Soviet Union, we raped and pillaged their economy and then installed, like, our people. We forced them to enter our economic system. And that's what happened. MK Ultra is real shit. I mean, yes, but not just MK Ultra. MK Ultra is one teeny tiny little part of it. The like brainwashing aspect is like Milton Friedman, Chicago School of Economics, Argentina, Chile, Costa Rica, like Pinochet, Perón, like those types of things. We did this in Iraq. We did this in Russia. We've done this all over the world.
Often misunderstand. They think ignoring something means you don't care. In reality, ignoring is often what caring too much looks like when you have no power. Your life doesn't pause because the news is horrific. You still need to work, you still need money, you still need to interact with people. Emotional collapse is a luxury most people can't afford daily. So propaganda teaches you a habit, not a belief, a habit. Selective attention. You learn over time which topics drain you, which conversations leave you empty, which thoughts spiral too far, and without ever deciding consciously, you start avoiding them. Your finger scrolls faster, your answers get shorter, your curiosity narrows. Another thing that's important, propaganda doesn't need to lie well. In fact, the clumsier the lie, the better.
You should read the book. If you understand the concept, you still have a lot to gain from the details of how it's used, where it's been used, how it's been used, how it developed into where it is now from where it was in the beginning, who is responsible, and also how it's being used now. Because the Shock Doctrine was written in 2008, I believe. It just by reading that, it will give you a much clearer understanding of what we are living through right now, because we're doing it to ourselves.
When lies are obvious, something interesting happens. You stop trusting not just the message, but the entire idea of truth in public space. Words stop being carriers of meaning, and
this is the point that Hybrid Heathen was trying to get at, right here. After a while, you just stop trusting the idea of truth.
Something interesting happens. You stop trusting not just the message, but the entire idea of truth in public space. Words stop being carriers of meaning and start being signals, noise, atmosphere. You don't ask, is this true? You ask, why are they saying this now? And eventually, even that feels like too much effort. I remember sitting with my parents while the news was on in the background. It was always on.
Yeah, and they learned all of it from the Chicago School of Economics and through Milton Friedman, who also learned it through working in Canada and also in Latin America and torturing people for fun. He's a smart Russian? He is indeed a smart Russian.
Because anyone cared deeply, but because silence felt strange. At some point the presenter said something so absurd that I laughed. I made a sarcastic comment. My father...
God damn it, I was gonna link the video to you guys, but I gotta refresh the page because it didn't load the full thing. Look, you guys understand the concept. I'm not gonna finish the video, just on the count of, like... I'm tired. I don't want to talk about it. I'm in pain. I don't give a fuck. I had to look at some horrific shit today. Guys, listen, we're gonna move on. So first... While I have you for a moment, before I send you the link for this.
I'm Russian.
There we go. Actually, I'll send that link first while I have you here. So I want to tell you about a couple lovely groups that I would like you to check out just while we have a moment. So right now, this space is running our first subscriber drive. If you weren't aware, This Space TV is a channel in which a coalition of left-leaning independent content creators cover the news, and I do my weekly 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time show there on Thursday nights. Come hang out with us all day for news, fantastic original content, Monday through Friday. There is a new lineup every day of the week. We also air like syndicated content from people who don't have their own show but would still like to contribute. We are stronger when we fight back together, so support independent left media. Your support is what helps this channel and this space stay independent. It is the only way that we can continue to do this in a way that allows us to break through the walls of the algorithm while we continue speaking truth to power and actually providing you with quality like news coverage, with non-bullshit, with I don't know, something real. Also, if you wanted to donate to me, you can donate using this link, so Twitch and YouTube don't take half the cut. If you're on Twitch, please follow me on YouTube because they will ban me very, very soon. Drop a like on the stream there. There was one more thing I was forgetting. Oh, yes, and also, please, for the love of God, if you do any one thing that I asked of you today, it is join the SRA. The lists are active. Your neighbors will trade you in to save themselves. If you think you are safe, that comfort is a delusion. Join the SRA, a 501c4 nonprofit organization prioritizing self and community defense education, as well as disaster outreach. You can go and join them, $5 a month, $36 a year. Literally call them and tell them you're poor. You will get in for free. Face them alone or stand together. Your loved ones need you. Your community needs you. There are no second chances. Are you ready? Share that link to the video, please. Oh yeah, sure. Didn't I thought I already did, but I think I shared it into Twitch chat twice. All right. So today we're going to do 2 raids. We're going to be raiding somebody on YouTube as well as on Twitch. Let's see who we raid on Twitch real quick. And on YouTube, we're going to be raiding Pep Talks, who's doing currently a marathon. Pep Talks, another This Space contributor, also very based. So you'll definitely want to stick around. I'm sure they're doing pretty similar news coverage. Maybe some stuff that I didn't touch on. Cool. All right. Let's drop a raid, and I will see you guys next time. Definitely go check out This Space. Seriously, they are fantastic. Could not do this without them. And stay safe, y'all. Go check out the videos. Bye-bye.